Do you want to read Mangalacharan prayer?
Yes, bro.
Haribol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Haribol. Hare Krishna, Saurav, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So,
Hare Krishna Saurav Prabhu, Dandavad
Hare
Pranam
Krishna,
Jai Prabhupada.
Haribol. So today we read the last chapter of Krishna book, and it is summary description of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Haribol. After returning from the spiritual kingdom, which he was able to visit personally along with Krishna, Arjuna was very much astonished. He thought to himself that although he was only an ordinary living entity, by the grace of Krishna, it had been possible for him to see personally the spiritual world. Not only had he seen the spiritual world, but he had also personally seen the original Mahavishnu, the cause of the material creation. It is said that Krishna never goes out of Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parityagya na padamekam gachati. Krishna is supreme in Mathura. He is more supreme in Dwaraka, and he is most supreme in Vrindavan. Krishna's pastimes in Dwaraka are displayed by his Vasudeva portion. Yet there is no difference between the Vasudeva portion manifested in Mathura and Dwaraka and the original manifestation of Krishna at Vrindavan. In the beginning of this book, we have discussed that when Krishna appears, all his incarnations, plenary portions, and portions of the plenary portions come with him. Thus, some of his different pastimes are manifested not by the original Krishna himself, but by his different portions and plenary portions of incarnation. Arjuna was therefore puzzled about how Krishna went to see the Karanarnavashai Vishnu in the spiritual world. This is fully discussed in the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It is understood from the speech of Mahavishnu that he was very anxious to see Krishna. It may be said, however, that since Mahavishnu took away the Brahmana's sons, he certainly must have gone to Dwaraka to do so. Therefore, why did he not see Krishna there? A possible answer is that Krishna cannot be seen even by the Mahavishnu, who is lying in the causal ocean of the spiritual world, unless Krishna gives his permission. Yes, this is interesting. Thus Mahavishnu took away the Brahmana's sons one after another, just after their births, so that Krishna would come personally to retrieve them, and then Mahavishnu would be able to see him there. If that is so, the next question is this: why would Mahavishnu come to Dwaraka personally if he were not able to see Krishna? Why did he not send some of his associates to take away the sons of the Brahmana? A possible answer is that it is very difficult to put any of the citizens of Dwaraka into trouble in the presence of Krishna. Therefore, it was not possible for any of Mahavishnu's associates to take away the Brahmana's sons, and thus he personally came to take them. Another question may also be raised. The Lord is known as Brahmanya Deva, the worshipable deity of the Brahmanas. So why was he inclined to put a Brahmana into such a terrible condition of lamentation over one son after another, until the ninth son was taken away? The answer is that Lord Mahavishnu was so anxious to see Krishna that he did not hesitate even to give trouble to a Brahmana. Although giving trouble to a Brahmana is a forbidden act, Lord Vishnu was prepared to do anything in order to see Krishna. He was so anxious to see him. After losing each of his sons, the Brahmana would come to the gate of the palace and accuse the king of not being able to give the Brahmanas protection, and thus being unfit to sit on the royal throne. It was Mahavishnu's plan that the Brahmana would accuse the Kshatriyas and Krishna and Krishna would be obliged to see him to take back the Brahmana's sons. Still another question may be raised. If Mahavishnu cannot see Krishna, then how was Krishna obliged to come before him after all to take back the sons of the Brahmana? The answer is that Lord Krishna went to see Lord Mahavishnu, not exactly to take away the sons of the Brahmana, but only for Arjuna's sake. His friendship with Arjuna was so intimate that when Arjuna prepared himself to die by entering the fire, Krishna wanted to give him complete protection. Arjuna, however, would not desist from entering the fire unless the sons of the Brahmana were brought back. Therefore, Krishna promised him, I will bring back the Brahmana's sons. Do not try to commit suicide. If Lord Krishna were going to see Lord Vishnu only to reclaim the sons of the Brahmana, then he would not have waited until the ninth son was taken. But when the ninth son was taken away by Lord Mahavishnu, and Arjuna was therefore ready to enter the fire because his promise was going to prove false, that serious situation made Lord Krishna decide to go with Arjuna to see Mahavishnu. It is said that Arjuna is an empowered incarnation of Narayana. He is even sometimes called Narayana. The Narayana incarnation is also one of Lord Vishnu's plenary expansions. Therefore, when Krishna and Arjuna went to see Lord Vishnu, it is to be understood that Arjuna visited in his Narayana capacity, just as Krishna, when he displayed his pastimes in Dwaraka, acted in his Vasudeva capacity. Hare Krishna. Okay, anyone can continue. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, you can continue.
Okay. After visiting the spiritual world, Arjuna concluded that whatever opulence anyone can show within the material or spiritual worlds is all a gift of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is manifested in various forms as Vishnu Tattva and Jiv Tattva, or in other words, as Samsa and Vivinamsa. Vishnu Tattva is known as Samsa and Jiv Tattva is known as Vivinamsa. He can therefore display himself by his different transcendental pastimes, either in the portion of Samsa or Vivinamsa, as he likes, but still he remains the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. The concluding portion of Krishna's pastime is found in the 9th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this chapter, Sukdev Goswami wanted to explain how Krishna lived happily at Dwaraka with all opulences. Krishna's opulence of strength has already been displayed in his different pastimes, and now it will be shown how his residence at Dwaraka displayed his opulences of wealth and beauty. In this material world, which is only a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, the opulence of wealth and beauty are considered to be the highest of all opulences. Therefore, while Krishna stayed on this planet as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his opulences of wealth and beauty had no comparison within the three worlds. Krishna enjoyed 16,000 beautiful wives, and it is most significant that he lived at Dwarka as the only husband of these hundreds and thousands of beautiful women. It is specifically stated in this connection that he was the only husband of 16,000 wives. It is, of course, not unheard of in the history of the world that a powerful king would keep many hundreds of queens. But although such a king might be the only husband of so many wives, he could not enjoy all of them at one time. Vishnu, however, enjoyed all of these 16,000 wives simultaneously. Although it may be said that yogis also can expand their bodies into many forms, the yogis' expansion and Lord Krishna's expansion are not one and the same. Krishna is therefore sometimes called Yogeshwara, the master of all yogis. In the Vedic literature, we find that the yogi Saubhari Muni expanded himself into eight, but that expansion was like a television expansion. The television image is manifested in millions of expansions, but those expansions cannot act differently. They are simply reflection of the original and can only act exactly as the original does. Krishna's expansion is not material like the expansion of television or the television of the yogi. While Narada visited the different palaces of Krishna, he saw that Krishna in his different expansion was variously engaged in each and every palace of the queens. It is also said that Krishna lived at Dwarka as the husband of the goddess of fortune. Queen Rukmini is the goddess of fortune, and all the other queens are her expansions. So Krishna, the chief of the Vrishni dynasty, enjoyed with the goddess of fortune in full opulence. The queens of Krishna are described as permanently youthful and beautiful. Although Krishna had grandchildren and great grandchildren, neither Krishna nor his queens looked older than 16 or 20 years of age. The young queens were so beautiful that when they moved, they appeared like lightning moving in the sky. They were always dressed with exalted ornaments and garments and were always engaged in sportive activities like dancing, singing, or playing ball on the roof of the palaces. The dancing and tennis playing of girls in the material world appear to be perverted reflection of the original pastimes of the original personality of God, Krishna and his wife. The roads and streets of the city of Dwarka were always crowded with elephants, horses, chariots, and infantry soldiers. When elephants are engaged in service, they are given liquor to drink, and it is said that the elephants in Dwarka were given so much liquor that they would sprinkle a great quantity of it on the road and still would walk on the street intoxicated. Wow. The infantry soldiers passing on the streets were profusely decorated with golden ornaments, and horses and golden chariots fleet along the streets in all directions of Dwarka city. Where one would turn his eyes, he would find green parks and gardens, and each of them was filled with trees and plants laden with fruits and flowers. Because there were so many nice trees of fruits and flowers, all the sweetly with the chirping of birds and the buzzing bumblebees joined together to make sweet vibrations. The city of Dwarka thus fully displayed all opulences. The heroes in the dynasty of Jodhu used to think themselves the most fortunate residents of the city, and actually they enjoyed all transcendental facilities. All the 16,000 palaces of Krishna's queens are situated in this beautiful city of Dwarka, and Lord Krishna, the supreme eternal enjoyer of all these facilities, expanded himself into 16,000 forms and simultaneously engaged in different family affairs in those 16,000 palaces. In each and every one of the palaces, there were nicely decorated gardens and lakes. The crystal clear water of the lakes contain many blooming lotus flowers of different colors like blue, yellow, white, and red. And the saffron powder from the lotus flowers was blown all around by the beach. All the lakes are full of beautiful swans, ducks, and cranes crying occasionally with melodious sounds. Lord Sri Krishna sometimes entered those lakes or sometimes the rivers with his wives and enjoyed swimming pastimes with them in full jubilation. Sometimes the wives of Lord Krishna, who were all goddess of fortune, would embrace the Lord in the midst of the water while swimming in bath, and the red vermilion of Kumkuma decorating the beauty of their breast would adorn the chest of the Lord with a reddish color. The impersonalists would not dare to believe that in the spiritual world there are such varieties of enjoyment, but in order to demonstrate the factual, ever blissful enjoyment in the spiritual world, Lord Krishna descended on this planet and showed that this the spiritual world is not devoid of such pleasurable facilities of life. The only difference is that in the spiritual world, such facilities are eternal, never-ending occurrences, whereas in the material world, they are simply impermanent, perverted reflections. When Lord Krishna was engaged in such enjoyments, the Gandharvas and professional musicians would glorify him with melodious musical concerts, accompanied by mridangas, drums, kettle drums, strings, instruments, and brass bugle, and the whole atmosphere would change into a greatly festive celebration. In a festive mood, the wives of the Lord would sometimes sprinkle water on the Lord's body with a sage-like instrument, and the Lord would similarly wet the bodies of the queens. When Krishna and the queens engaged themselves in these pastimes, it seemed as if the heavenly king Joksaraj were engaged in such pastime with his many wives. Joksaraja is also known as Kubera and is considered to be the treasurer of the heavenly kingdom. When the wives of Lord Krishna thus became wed, their breast and thighs would increase in beauty 1,000 times, and their long hair would fall down to decorate those parts of their bodies. The beautiful flowers which were placed in their hair would fall, and the queens, being seemingly harassed by the Lord's pouring water at them, would approach him on the plea of snatching the syringe-like instrument, and this attempt would create a situation wherein the Lord would embrace them as they willingly approached him. Upon being embraced, the wives of the Lord would feel on their mouths a clear indication of conjugal love, and this would create an atmosphere of spiritual bliss. When the garland on the neck of the Lord then touched the breast of the queens, their whole bodies became covered with saffron yellow. Being engaged in their celestial pastimes, the queens forget themselves, and their loosened hair appeared like the beautiful waves of river. When the queen sprinkled water on the body of Krishna, or he sprinkled water on the body of the queens, the whole situation appeared just like an elephant enjoying in a lake along with many sea elephants. Hare Krishna Prabhu, anyone can continue.
Hare Krishna. After enjoying fully amongst themselves, the queens and Lord Krishna would come out the water, and their wet garments, which were very valuable, would be given up by them to be taken away by the professional singers and dancers. These singers and dancers had no other means of subsistence than the rewards of valuable garments and ornaments left by the queens and kings on such occasions. The whole system of society was so well planned that all the members of society in their different positions as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras had no difficulty in earning their livelihood. There was no competition among the divisions of society. The original conception of the caste system was so planned that one group of men engaged in a particular type of occupation would not compete with another group of men engaged in a different occupation. In this way, Lord Krishna used to enjoy the company of his 16,000 wives. Devotees of the Lord who want to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the manner of conjugal love are elevated to the position of becoming wives of Krishna, and Krishna also keeps them always attached to him by his kind behavior. Krishna's behavior with his wives, his movements, his talking with them, his smiling, his embracing, and similar other activities, just like a loving husband kept them always very much attached. A loving husband kept them always very much attached to him. That is the highest perfection of life. If someone remains always attached to Krishna, it is to be understood that he is liberated and his life is successful. With any devotee who loves Krishna with his heart and soul, Krishna reciprocates in such a way that devotee cannot remain unattached to him. The the reciprocal dealings of Krishna and his devotees are so attractive that a devotee cannot think of any subject matter other than Krishna. For all the queens, Krishna only was their worshipable objective. They were always absorbed in thought of Krishna, the lotus-eyed and beautifully blackish personality of Godhead. Sometimes in thought of Krishna, they remained silent, and in great ecstasy of bhava and anubhava, they sometimes spoke as if in delirium. Sometimes, even in the presence of Lord Krishna, they vividly described the pastimes they had enjoyed in the lake or in the river with him. Some of such talk may be described here. One of the queens said to the bird Kurari, "My dear Kurari, now it is very late at night. Everyone is sleeping. The whole world is now calm and peaceful. At this time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sleeping, although his knowledge is undisturbed by any circumstance. Then why are you not sleeping? Why are you lamenting like this throughout the whole night? My dear friend, is it that you also attracted by the lotus eyes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and by his sweet smiling and attractive words exactly as I am? Do those dealings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead pinch your heart as they do mine? Hello, Chakravaki. Why have you closed your eyes? Are you searching after your husband who might have gone to foreign countries? Why are you lamenting so pitiably? Alas, it appears that you are very much aggrieved. Or is it a fact that you are also willing to become an eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I think that you are anxious to put a garland on the lotus feet of the Lord and then place it on your hair. Oh, my dear ocean, why are you roaring all day and night? Don't you like to sleep? I think that you have been attacked by insomnia, or if I am not wrong, my dear Shimasundara has tactfully taken away your gravity and power of forbearance, which are your natural qualifications. Is it a fact that for this reason you are suffering from insomnia like me? Yes, I admit that there is no remedy for this disease. My dear moon god, I think that you have been attacked by a severe type of tuberculosis. For this reason, you are becoming thinner and thinner day by day. Oh my lord, you are now so weak that your thin rays cannot dissipate the darkness of night. Or is it a fact that just as I have, you also have been stunned by the mysteriously sweet words of my lord Shimasundara? Is it a is it is it a fact that it is because of this severe anxiety that you are so grave? O breeze from the Himalayas, what have I done to you that you are so intent on teasing me by awakening my lust to meet Krishna? Do you not know that I have already been injured by the crooked policy of the personality of Godhead? My dear Himalayan breeze, please know that I have already been stricken. There is no need to injure me more and more. My dear beautiful cloud, the color of your beautiful body exactly resembles my dear Moshima Sundara's bodily hue. I think, therefore, that you are very much dear to my lord, the chief of the dynasty of the Yadus, and because you are so dear to him, you are, exactly as I am, absorbed in meditation. I can appreciate that your heart is full of anxiety for Shimasundara. You appear to be excessively eager to see him, and I see that for this reason only there are drops of tears gliding down from your eyes, just as there are from mine. My dear Black Cloud, we must admit frankly that to establish an intimate relationship with Shimasundara means to purchase unnecessary anxieties while we are otherwise comfortable at home. Generally, the cuckoo sounds it's cooing the vibration at the end of night and early in the morning. When the queens heard the cooing of the cuckoo of the end of night, they said, "Dear cuckoo, your voice is very sweet. As soon as you vibrate your sweet voice, we immediately remember Shimasundara because your voice exactly resembles his. We must frankly admit that your voice is imbued with nectar, and it is so invigorating that it is competent to bring back life to those who are almost dead in separation from their dearmost friend. So we are sorry. So we are very much obliged to you. Please let us know how we can welcome you or how we can do something for you." The queens continued talking like that, and they addressed the mountain as follows. Dear mountain, you are very dangerous. Sorry, you are very generous. By your gravitation only, the whole crust on this earth is properly maintained, and because you are discharging your duties very faithfully, you do not know how to move. Because you are so grave, you do not move hither and thither, nor do you say anything. Rather, you always appear to be in a thoughtful mood. It may be that you are always thinking of a very grave and important subject matter, but we can guess very clearly what you are thinking of. We are sure that you are thinking of placing the lotus feet of Shimasundara on your raised peaks, as we want to place his lotus feet on our raised breasts. Haribol, anyone can continue next. Hare Krishna, Bhagavan Prabhu, Manu Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Manu Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Bajari Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, who wants to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, can I read?
Yes, Prabhu. Haribol.
Dear dry rivers, we know that because this is the summer season, all your beads are dry and all your beds are dry and you have no water. Because all your water has now been dried up, you are no longer beautiful by the blooming lotus flower. At the present moment, you appear to be very lean and thin, so we can understand that your position is exactly like ours. We have lost everything due to being separated from the Syamasundara, and we no longer hear his pleasing words. Our heart no longer work properly, and therefore we also have become very lean and thin. We think, therefore, that you are just like us. You have turned lean and thin because you are not getting any water from your husband and the ocean through the clouds. The example given here with by the queens is very appropriate. The river beds become dry when the ocean no longer supplies water through the clouds. The ocean is supposed to be husband of the river and therefore is supposed to support her. Unless a woman is supported by the husband with the necessity of life, she also becomes as a dry and very dry river. One queen addressed as a swan as follow. My dear swan, please come here. You are welcome. Please sit down and take some milk. My dear swan, can you tell me if you have any message from the Syamasundara? I take you to the messenger from him. If you have any such news, please tell me. Our Shyamsundar is always very independent. He never come under the control of anyone. We have all failed to control him and therefore we ask you if he keeping himself well. I may inform you that Shyamchandra is very fickle. His friendship is always temporary. It breaks even by the slight agitation. But would you kindly explain why he is so unkind to me? Formerly, he said that I alone am his dearmost wife. Does he remember his assurance? Anyway, you are welcome. Please sit down, but I cannot accept your entreaty to go to the Shyam Sundara when he does not care for me. Why should I be mad after him? I am very sorry to let I'm very sorry to let you know that you have become the messenger of a pure-hearted soul. You are asking me to go to him, but I am not going. What is that? You talk of his coming to me. Does he desire to come here to fulfill my long expectation for him? All right, you can bring him here, but don't bring him with him his most beloved goddess of the fortune. Do you think that he cannot be separated from the goddess of the fortune even for a moment? Could he come here alone without Lakshmi? His behavior is very displeasing. Does it mean that without Lakshmi, Shamsundara doesn't cannot be happy, can't be happy with any other wife? Does it mean that the goddess of fortune has a ocean of love for him, and none of us can compare to her? All the wives of the Lord Krishna were completely absorbed in the thought of the him. Krishna is known as the Yogeshwara, the master of all yogis, and all the wives of the Krishna at Deva Dwarka used to keep his Yogeshwara with their heart. Instead of trying to be master of all yogic mystic power, it is better if one simply keep the supreme Yogeshwara Krishna within his heart. Thus, once kingdom of the god, it is to be understood that all the queens of the Krishna who lived with him at Dwarka were in their previous life very greatly exalted devotees who wanted to establish a relationship with the Krishna in the conjugal love. Thus, they were given the chance to become his wife and enjoy a constant loving relationship with him. Ultimately, they were all transferred to the Vaikuntha planets. The supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is never impersonal. All the Vedic literature glorify the transcendental performance of the his various personal activities and pastime. It is said that in the Vedas and the Ramayana, only the activities of the Lord are described. Everywhere in the Vedic literature, his glories are sung. As soon as soft-hearted people, such as women, hear those transcendental pastime of the Lord Krishna, they immediately become attracted to him. Soft-hearted women and girls are therefore very easily drawn to the Krishna consciousness movement. One who is thus drawn to the Krishna consciousness movement and try to keep himself in the constant touch with the such consciousness certainly get the supreme salvation. Going back to Krishna at the goal of Vrindavan, it's simply by developing the Krishna consciousness one can transfer to the spiritual world. One can simply imagine how blissful and blessed were the prince of the Lord Krishna who talked with him personally and who saw Lord Krishna eye to eye. No one can properly describe the fortune of the wives of the Lord Krishna. They took care of him personally by rendering various transcendental service like bathing him, feeding him, pleasing him, and serving him. Thus, no one's austerity can compare to the service of the prince at the Dwaraka. Shukadeva Goswami informed Maharaj Parikshit that the self-realization, the austerities and penances performed by the queens at the Dwarka have no comparison. The objective of the self-realization is one Krishna. Therefore, although the dealings of the queens with Krishna appear just like the ordinary dealing between the husband and wife, the principal point to be observed is the queen's attachment for the Krishna. The entire process of the austerity and penances is meant to detach one from the material world and to enhance one's advancement to the attachment to the Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna is the center of the all persons advancing in the self-realization as an ideal householder. He lived with his wives and performed the Vedic ritual just to show less intelligent person that the Supreme Lord is never impersonal. Krishna lived with wife and children in all opulence, exactly like an ordinary conditioned soul, just to exemplify to those soul who are actually condition that one may enter into the circle of family life as long as Krishna is the center. For example, the members of the Yadu dynasty lived in the family of the Krishna and Krishna was the center of their activities. Renunciation is not as important as enhancing one's attachment to the Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for this purpose. We are preaching on the principle that it does not matter whether a man is sannyasi or grasta. One simply one simply has to increase his attachment for the Krishna and then his life is successful. Following in the footsteps of the Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna, one can live with his family members or within the society or nations, not for the purpose of the indulging in the sense gratification, but to realize Krishna by the advancing in the attachment for him. There are four principles of the elevation from the conditioned life to the life of the liberation, which are technically known as the dharma, artha, kama, moksha, religion, economic development, and self-gratification and liberation. If one lives a family life following in the footsteps of the Lord Krishna and family member, Lord Krishna's family member, one can achieve all four of the principal success stimulated by the making Krishna the center of the all activity. It is already known to us that Krishna had 16,108 wives. All these wives were exalted, liberated soul, and among them King Rukmani was chief. After Rukmani, there were seven other principal wives, and the names of the son of these eight principal queens have already been mentioned. Beside these eight queens, Lord Krishna had 10 sons by each and other queens. Thus, all daughters, all together, Krishna's children numbered 16,108 times 10. One should not be astonished to hear that Krishna had so many sons. One should always remember that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and he has unlimited potencies. He claimed all living entity as his son. So even if he had 16 million sons attached to him personally, there, there would be no cause for the astonishment. Among Krishna's greatly powerful sons, eight sons were Maharathas. The Maharathas could fight one alone against many thousands of the soldiers, charioteers, cavalries, and elephants. The reputation of these eight sons are very widespread and are described in almost all the Vedic literature. The 18 Maharatha, 18, no, sorry, 18 Maharatha son are listed as the Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Diptimana, Bhanu, Sambha, Madhu, Bharat, Bhanu, Chitra Bhanu, Varka, Aruna, Puskara, Vedabahu, Shrutadeva, Sunandana, Chitrabahu, Virupa, Kavi, and Nya, Naya Groha of the Nyagroda of the 18 Maharatha, son of the Krishna. Pradyumna is considered to be the foremost. Pradyumna, happened to be the eldest son of the king Rukmani and inherited all the qualities of his father, Lord Krishna. He married the daughter of his maternal uncle Rukmi and Aniruddha. The son of the Pradyumna was born from the marriage. Aniruddha was so powerful that he could fight against the 10,000 elephant. He married the granddaughter of the the brother of his grandmother, Rukmi, Rukmini. Because the relationship between these cousins was distant, but a marriage was not uncommon. Aniruddha's son was Vraja. When the whole Yadu dynasty was destroyed by the curse of the Brahmana, only Vraja survived. Vajra, Vajra, Vajra had one son whose name was Pratibahu. The son of the Pratibahu was named Subahu. The son of Subahu was named San, Santasena, and the son of the Santasena was Santa Tatasena. It is stated by the Sukadeva Goswami that all the members of the Yadu dynasty had many children, just as the Krishna had many sons, grandsons, and great grandsons. So each one of the kings named Hervida also had similar family extension. Not only did all the all of them have many children, but all were extraordinary rich and opulent. None of them were weak and short-lived. And above all the members of the Yadu dynasty were staunch devotees of the Brahminical quality. It is the duty of the Kshatriya king to maintain the Brahminical qualities and protect the qualified Brahmanas. And all these kings discharge their duties very rightly. The members of the Yadu dynasty were so numerous that it would be very difficult to describe them all, even one had a duration of the life of many thousands of years. Srila Sukadeva Goswami informed Maharaj Parikshata that he had heard from the reliable sources that simply to teach the children of the Yadu dynasty there were as many as 3 crore 88 lakh tutor or acharyas. If so many teachers were needed to educate their children, one can simply imagine how vast was the number of family members. As for their military strength, it is said that King Ugrasena alone had 10 Parthian children as personal bodyguards. Hari Bol. Hari Bol, bro. Continue. Hare Krishna.
Before the advent of Lord Krishna within the universe, there were many battles between the demons and the demigods. Many demons died in the fighting, and they all were given the chance to take birth in fami- high royal families on this earth. Because because of their royal exalted posts, all these demons become very much puffed up, and their only business was to harass their subjects. Lord Krishna appeared on this planet just at the end of Dwapara Yuga in order to annihilate all these demoniac kings. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha dushkritam. The Lord comes to protect the devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. Some of the demigods were also uh, some some of the demigods were also asked to appear on this earth to assist in the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna. When Krishna appeared, he came in the association of his eternal servitors, but the demigods were also requested to come down to assist him, and thus all of them took their births in the Yadu dynasty. The Yadu dynasty had 101 clans in different parts of the country. All the members of these different clans respected Lord Krishna in the matter befitting his divine position, and all of them were his devotees, heart and soul. Thus, all the members of the Edo dynasty were very opulent, happy. All the members of uh, uh, Thus, all the members of the Edo dynasty were very opulent, happy, and prosperous, and they had no anxieties. Because of their implicit faith in and devotion to Lord Krishna, they were never defeated by any other king. Their love of Krishna was so intense that in their regular activities, in sitting, sleeping, traveling, talking, sporting, cleansing, and bathing, they were simply absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and paid no attention to the bodily necessities. That is the symptom of a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Just as when a man is fully absorbed in some particular thought, he sometimes forgets his other bodily activities. So the members of the Edu dynasty acted automatically for their bodily necessities, but their actual attention was always fixed on Krishna. Their bodily activities were performed mechanically, but their minds were absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Srila Sukadeva Goswami has concluded the 90th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by pointing out five particular excellences of Lord Krishna. The first excellence is that before Lord Krishna's appearance in the Edu family, the river Ganges was known as the purest uh, of all things. Even impure things could be purified simply by touching the water of Ganges. This super excellent power of the Ganges water was due to its having emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu. But when Lord Krishna, the supreme Vishnu, appeared in the family of the Edu dynasty, he traveled personally throughout the kingdom of the Yadus and by his intimate association with the Edu dynasty, the whole family not only became very famous but also more effective in purifying others in the water of the Ganges. The next excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance was that all through apparently he gave protection to the devotees and annihilated the demons. Both the devotees and the demons achieved the same result. Lord Krishna is the bestower of five kinds of liberation, of which Sayujya Mukti, or the liberation of becoming one with the Supreme, was given to the demons like Kamsa, whereas the gopis were given the chance to associate with him personally. The gopis kept their individuality to enjoy the company of Lord Krishna, but Kamsa was accepted into his impersonal Brahma Jyoti. In other words, both the demons and the gopis were spiritually liberated. But because the demons were enemies and the gopis were friends, the demons were killed and the gopis were protected. The third excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance was that the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by demigods like Lord Brahma, Indra, and Chandra, remained always engaged in the service of the Lord. Even though the Lord gave more preference to the gopis. Lakshmiji, the goddess of fortune, tried her best to be on the equal level with the gopis, but she was not successful. Nevertheless, she remained faithful to Krishna, although generally she does not remain at one place even if worshipped by demigods like Lord Brahma. The fourth excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance concerns the glories of his name. It is stated in the Vedic literature that by chanting the different names of Lord Vishnu, 2000 times one may be bestowed. Uh, It is stated in the Vedic literature that by chanting the different names of Lord Vishnu, 1000 times one may be bestowed with the same benefits as by thrice chanting the holy name of Lord Rama, and by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna only once, one receives the same benefit. In other words, of all the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, including Vishnu and Rama, the holy name of Krishna is the most powerful. The Vedic literature, therefore, specifically stresses the chanting of the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Chaitanya introduced this chanting of the holy name of Krishna in this age, thus making liberation more easily obtainable than in other ages. In other words, Lord Krishna is more excellent than his other incarnations.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, scroll down.
Read. Oh.
Prabhuji, can you scroll down? Although all of them are equally the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fifth excellence of Lord Krishna's appearance is that he established the most excellent of all religious principles by his one statement in the Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering onto him, one can discharge all the principles of religious rites. In the Vedic literature, there are 20 kinds of religious principles mentioned, and each of them is described in the different shastras. But Lord Krishna is so kind to the fallen conditioned souls of this age that he personally appeared and asked everyone to give up all kinds of religious rites and simply surrender unto him. It is said that this age of Kali is three-fourths devoid of religious principles. Hardly one-fourth of the principles of religion are still observed in this age. But by the mercy of Lord Krishna, this vacancy of Kali Yuga has not only been completely filled, but the religious principles has been made so easy that by that simply by rendering transcendental loving service unto Lord Krishna and by chanting his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one can achieve the highest result of religion, namely being transferred to the highest planet within the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavana. One can thus immediately estimate the benefit of Lord Krishna's appearance and can understand that his giving relief to the people of this world by his appearance was not at all extraordinary. Srila Sukadeva Goswami thus concludes his description of the super exalted position of Lord Krishna by glorifying him in the following way. O Lord Krishna, all glories unto you. You are present in everyone's heart as Paramatma. Therefore, you are known as Jananivasa, one who lives in everyone's heart, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrudyesha Arjuna Tishtati. The Supreme Lord in his Paramatma future lives within everyone's heart. This does not mean, however, that Krishna has no separate existence as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mayavadi philosophers accept the all-pervading future of Parabrahma. But when Parabrahman or the Supreme Lord appears, they 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 think they think that he actually appears under the control of the material nature. But because Lord Krishna appeared as a son of Devaki, the Mayavadi philosophers accept Krishna to be an ordinary living entity who takes birth within the material world. Therefore, Sukdev Goswami warns them that Devaki Janmavada, which means that all through Krishna is famous as a son of Devaki. Actually, he is the super soul or the all-pervading supreme personality of Godhead. The devotees, however, take this word Devaki Janmavada in a different way. The devotees understand that actually Krishna was the son of Mother Yashoda. Although Krishna first of all appeared as the son of Devaki, he immediately transferred himself to the lap of Mother Yashoda and his Prabhu scroll down. Prabhuji, can you please scroll down to it?
The internet is slow, Prabhu. You already scrolled down.
Childhood pastimes were blissfully enjoyed by Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. This fact was also admitted by Vasudeva himself. When he met Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda at Kurukshetra, he admitted that Krishna and Balarama were actually the sons of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Vasudeva and Devaki were only their official father and mother. Their actual father and mother were Nanda and Yashoda. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami addressed Lord Krishna as Devaki Janmavada. Sukadeva Goswami then glorified the Lord as one who is honored by the Yaduvara Parishad, the assembly house of the Yadu dynasty, and as the killer of different kinds of demons. Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, could have killed all the demons by employing his different material energies, but he wanted to kill them personally in order to give them salvation. There was no need of Kamsa's coming to this material world to kill. Sukadeva Goswami then glorifies the Lord as one who is honored by the Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could have killed all the demons by employing his different material energies, but he wanted to kill them personally. There was no need of Krishna's coming to the material world to kill the demons. Simply by his willing, many hundreds and thousands of demons could have been killed without his personal endeavor. But actually, he descended for his pure devotees to play as a child with Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj and to give pleasure to the inhabitants of Dwaraka by killing the demons and by giving protection to the devotees. Lord Krishna established the real religious principle, which is simply love of God. By following the factual religious principles of love of God, even the living entities known as Sthirachara were also delivered of all material contaminations and were transferred to the spiritual kingdom. Sthira means the trees and plants which cannot move, and Chara means the moving animals, specifically the cows. When Krishna was present, he delivered all the trees, monkeys, and other plants and animals who appeared to see him and serve him, both in Vrindavan and in Dwaraka. Now Krishna is especially glorified for his giving pleasure to the gopis and the queens of Dwaraka. Sukadeva Goswami glorifies Lord Krishna for his enchanting smile, by which he enchanted not only the gopis at Vrindavana, but also the queens at Dwaraka. The exact word in this connection is Vardhayan Kamadevam. In the Vrindavan, as boyfriend of many gopis, in Dwaraka, as the husband of many queens, Krishna increased their lusty desires to enjoy with him. For God realization or self realization, one generally has to undergo severe austerities and penances for many, many thousands of years, and then it may be possible to realize God. But the gopis and the queens of Dwaraka, simply by enchanting their lusty desires to enjoy Krishna as their boyfriend or husband, received the highest type of salvation. Prabhuji, can anyone continue?
Haribo, thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, Manu Prabhu, can you continue now?
Yeah. behavior of the Lord Krishna with the gopis and the queens is unique in the history of self-realization. Usually people understand that for self-realization, one has to go to the forest or to the mountains to undergo severe austerities and penances. But the gopis and the queens simply by being attached to Krishna, conjugal love, and enjoying his company in so-called sensuous love, sensuous life, full of luxury and opulence, achieve the highest salvation, which is impossible to be achieved even by great sages and saintly virtues. Similarly, the demons such as Masas, and Dantavakra, Sisupala, etc., also got the highest benefit of being transferred to the spiritual world. In the beginning of this Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva offered his respectful obeisances to the supreme truth, Vasudeva Krishna. After that, he taught his son Sukadeva Goswami to preach him Bhagavatam. It is in this connection that Sukadeva Goswami glorifies the Lord as Jayati, following in the footsteps of Srila Vyasadeva. Sukadeva Goswami and all the other acharyas in the disciple procession, the whole population of the world should glorify Lord Krishna. For this and for their best interest, they should take to this Krishna consciousness movement. The process is easy and helpful. It is simply to chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Lord Chaitanya has therefore recommended that one should be callous to the material ups and downs. Material life is temporary, and so the ups and downs of life may come and go. When they come, one should be calm as a tree, as humble as and meek as a strong tree. But yes, hello? I heard someone talk. But certainly he must engage himself in Krishna consciousness by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the Super Soul of all living entities, out of whose causeless mercy comes down and manifests his different transcendental pastimes in different incarnations. During the attractive pastimes of Lord Krishna's different incarnations is a chance for liberation for the conditioned soul. And the most fascinating and pleasing activities of Lord Krishna himself are still more attractive because Lord Krishna personally is attractive, he is all attractive. Following in the holy steps of Srila Sukadeva Goswami, we have tried to present this book, Krishna, for being read and heard by conditioned souls of this age. By hearing the pastimes of Lord Krishna, certain to get salvation and be transferred back to God. It is recommended by Sukadeva Goswami that as we hear the transcendental pastimes and the activities of the Lord, we gradually cut the knots of material domination. Therefore, regardless of what one is, if one wants the association of Lord Krishna and the transcendental kingdom of God for eternity and blissful existence, one should hear about the pastimes of Lord Krishna and chant the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, are so powerful that simply by hearing, reading, and memorizing this book, Krishna, one is sure to be transferred to the spiritual world, which is ordinarily very difficult to achieve. The description of the pastime of Lord Krishna is so attractive that automatically it results in impetus to study repeatedly. And the more we study the presence of the Lord, the more we become attached to Him. This very attachment to Krishna makes one eligible to be transferred to His abode, the Lord of Vrindavan. If we have learned from the previous chapter to cross over the material world is to cross over the stringent laws of material nature. The stringent laws of material nature cannot check the process of one who is attracted by the spiritual nature. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself. Although the stringent laws of material nature are very difficult to overcome, if anyone surrenders unto the Lord, he can very easily cross over these sides. There is, however, no influence of material nature in the spiritual world. As we have learned from the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the ruling power of demigod and the influence of material nature are conspicuous by their absence in material in the spiritual world. Srila Sukadeva Goswami has therefore applied Maharaj Perkit in the beginning of the second canto that every conditioned soul should engage himself in hearing and chanting nutrients amplified by the Lord. Srila Sukadeva Goswami also informed King Parikshit that previously many other kings and emperors went to a jungle to prosecute severe austerities and penance in order to go back home back to Godhead. In India, it is still a practice that many advanced transcendentalists give up their family lives to go to Vrindavan to live there alone and engage in hearing and chanting of the holy pastime to the Lord. This system is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The 6 commandments of Vrindavan folded will at the present moment many armies and imitate many armies and pseudo devotees have overcrowded the holy place of Vrindavan. Just to imitate the process recommended by Sukadeva Goswami, they said that many kings and emperors only went to forest for this purpose, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati therefore Goswami Maharaj did not recommend that one take up this solitary life in Vrindavan prematurely. One who goes prematurely to Vrindavan to live and in penance of the instructions of Sukadeva Goswami against fall victim of Maya, even while residing in Vrindavan. To check such unauthorized records in Vrindavan, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati before and explained a nice song in this connection, the purport of which is called, my dear mind, why are you proud of being a therefore your chanting the holy name of is only a pretension. Such an ambition for a cheap reputation can be compared to the stool of a hog, because the popularity of other extensions of influence of Maya. One may go to Vrindavan for cheap popularity, and instead of being absorbed in Krishna consciousness, one may always think of money and women, which are simply temporary sources of happiness. It is better that one engage whatever money and woman he may have in his possession in the service of the Lord, because sense enjoyment is not for conditions only. The master of the senses, Hirshikesha, or Krishna, therefore, the senses should always be engaged in his service. As for material reputation, there are many demons like Ravana who wanted to go against the laws of material nature, but they all failed. One should therefore not take to demonic activities of claiming to be a Vaishnava just for false prestige, without performing the service to the Lord. When one engages oneself in the devotional service of the Lord, automatically the Vaishnava reputation comes to him. There's no need of being to be envious of the devotees who are engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord. We have practical experience of being advised by the so-called allergies and Vrindavan are that there is no use that there is no need to preach, and that is there's no need to preach that it is better to live in Vrindavan in a solitary place and chant the one name. Such Babajis do not know that one engages in preaching with or in glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A good reputation of the preacher automatically follows. One should not, therefore, prematurely give up the honest life of the householder to lead the life of watching and bring out others. Srila Sukadeva Goswami recommended to live to leave home and go to a forest in search of Krishna is not for immature persons. Maharaj Parikshit was mature even in his householder life, or from the very beginning of his life. He worshipped Lord Krishna's Murti. In his childhood, he worshipped the deity of Lord Krishna. Later, although he was a householder, he was always detached, and therefore he got the notice of his death. He immediately gave up all connection uh, with household life and sat down on the bank of the Ganges to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in association with devotees. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 90th chapter of Krishna, summary description of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Thus, on volume 2 of Krishna's personality of God.
Ribo.
Ribo. Yes, the summary study was really nice at the end. I was amazed about Mahavishnu wanting to meet even Lord Krishna. That I was amazed about. In the beginning of this chapter. Yes, that's why he took the Brahmana sons, because he wanted that Lord Krishna came to meet him. So even Mahavishnu wants to meet Krishna. See, it is understood from the speech of Mahavishnu that he was very anxious to see Krishna.
Yes, it is very interesting. How can Mohan?
Yes, I thought it was like they are like, yeah, this is really hard to understand. Krishna himself.
Because Mahavishnu is also Krishna, right?
Yes.
Mahavishnu and Krishna is no
He
different.
means that he would have his own mood. He would be only self-satisfied, right? Is that what he means in Google? Not that he's different from Krishna, but he meant something else. What do you mean by you're amazed by that statement?
Yes, that because I thought that they are like absolutely non-different. That I was before I was like, when I heard this, I was like, it was a little realization, and I was amazed that I realized that they are like different personalities, like properly. Because if they were not different personalities, then why would Mahavishnu want to see Krishna? He's seeing Krishna all the time. But then I realized that even Mahavishnu is not seeing Krishna all the time like that personally. So that I was amazed, because I thought that there in their connection there's like nothing that they don't know about each other. But yeah, it's a new realization again. Because I thought not absolutely non-different, Mahavishnu and Krishna, that it's just a different.
Yes, totally same.
Since you put it that way, that makes it more interesting actually. Like you would expect Mahavishnu.
Because this was like, that when Lord Brahma took away the cows and calves, that I understood that he's Brahma, he's a living entity. But then now Mahavishnu is doing kind of the same thing, taking away the Brahmana son so he can meet Krishna. So I was amazed that he's Krishna himself and he's doing like this. So that I cannot understand still how this Vishnu Tattva works completely.
It's totally bewildering, bro.
Yes. Yes, here also, if he were not able to see Krishna. I thought that of course Mahavishnu is always seeing Krishna.
Like that reminds you of the verse Krishna stated. I forgot which chapter it was, but Krishna says that he. I have to find the verse for the exact
Yes,
quote.
this is very brief.
Hold on. I didn't say the quote yet. I have to find it, but generally he said that he isn't. Everyone is in him, but he is not in everyone.
Yes.
In that way, like Prabhupada, he made an example of the $100 bill. How the $100 bill has everything. The dollar bill,
Yeah.
the $20 bill, $50 bill. No one has 100. It makes more sense now the way that you mentioned this Mahavishnu, he's not able to see Krishna.
Yes.
You know, makes a lot more sense.
Yes, and that's why he made this situation so that Krishna would be obliged to see him. It's really interesting. See, Mahavishnu was so anxious to see Krishna that he did not hesitate even to give trouble to a Brahmana. Although giving trouble to a Brahmana is a forbidden act, Lord Vishnu was prepared to do anything in order to see Krishna. He was so anxious to see him. And also here that it was Mahavishnu's plan that the Brahmana would accuse the Kshatriyas and Krishna would be obliged to come see him, to take back the Brahmana's sons.
It's something similar to that happened, like where Balaram he wanted to get Subhadra married to Duryodhana, and Krishna made a separate plan and everything. It's not exactly like how Anantasesha Baladev is not able to see him, but it's like to a point where like they had a different will, both
Yes.
like Krishna. Wow.
Yes, because very often I just think I put them in one category in my mind. I think that they are all Krishna, but they are also separate personalities, all. Lord Balaram, everyone, they're separate personalities, even though they are Krishna.
So this is like Krishna is the supreme Vishnu or something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah, I read in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the word Vishnu is known only in the material world. There's no Vishnu in the spiritual world.
Yes, there is.
Oh yeah, because
only
like Vishnu
Narayana.
is just for
But-
maintenance, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's right. There is Narayana. Yes.
Because like I was reading in Bhagavad Gita that what is it? Paramatma is not eternal because well, this is like like eternally appearing and disappearing material world and everything. And I was surprised to read that portion that I thought Paramatma, but it makes more sense because Paramatma is only there for the material world, but he's not like eternal in that way.
Yeah.
Like how in the spiritual world is.
Actually, I have one question. When I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, I came across Srila Prabhupada's purport, or maybe the verse itself, where it is said that Paramatma resides even in the hearts of devotees in the spiritual world. But I heard from Srila Prabhupada that there's no Paramatma in the spiritual world, so I don't know how to understand this properly. Actually,
yes, I
maybe
also heard something how when one is transformed, then how the Paramatma is separated. I read something like this also.
Wait, separated.
Yes, from the
Explain.
what do you mean by separating?
like when the when the material elements and all these are separated at that. I don't remember like exactly how it went, but I remember that
You mean when the
soul
creation
goes back to
took
Krishna,
place?
back to Vaikuntha planets, then
Okay.
then I remember something like that the Paramatma leaves, then that it doesn't.
Yeah, because Paramatma is there in the heart until we
Yeah.
Immaterial.
go.
Immaterial.
Yeah.
And yesterday I read also about this baby Krishna form, because I was reading and Prabhupada was giving answer that no, there is no baby, that he said baby Krishna is in material world, that he said in spiritual world Krishna is 16 years old. But this also I didn't.
Wow.
I was going to give reference to the group because there is this one Prabhu who always gives baby Krishna things. And I was surprised that Prabhupada said that baby Krishna is only in material world. And then I was confused again that is. Yes, I need to. I think it was in the Krishna book also. It was like in the last chapter.
And you read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that the Paramatma is inside everyone's heart in the spiritual world, but you heard something different from Paramatma.
Sam Prabhu, can you go to Adilila chapter 2, verse 46? I don't know. I think I should ask maybe Tatavit Prabhu because he knows Chaitanya Charitamrita very well. You see the first sentence in the purport.
Yes. Krishna in his Paramatma feature lives in the heart of all living beings in both the transcendental and mundane creations.
Yeah. And I was like, how it is possible?
Yeah, yes, that's really.
Yes, spiritual world also he living. I don't know this.
Yeah, I need to clarify this from senior devotees.
Is this a good question?
So the function of Paramatma in this material world is to be with us because we're just jumping from branch to branch, right?
Yeah.
But what would his function be in the spiritual world?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
that
my
is the
point.
exact question. That is the exact question.
Huh? What's that, Prabhu? You were saying something. Sora?
Yes, Prabhuji, like in the material world, as far I know, I read that this Paramatma is like supervisor. He exists with every individual soul.
Yes.
Guiding, but what he is doing in the heart, in spiritual world, they are all sinless person. They already liberated. So what is his function as Paramatma in spiritual world?
Prabhupada stated that we have this, we still have that untouched free will. And Prabhupada stated that there's no chance for fall down again because you're going to remember. I mean, I'm not saying that I shouldn't speculate, but Paramatma can, possibly say, hey, don't touch the fire again. But, I would rather leave it to the senior devotees.
Oh, Krishna. I don't
Oh,
know.
Haribol. Karti Prabhu said that he just watched yesterday Nimante Prabhu's class on Moonhawks. And he liked it very much. Yeah, that class was amazing. It's one of my favorites now. Today at my night shift, I rewatched the last part when Nimante Prabhu was answering the questions. It's really nice to see how he was smashing those rascals in the comments.
It too bad they were
He was very angry at that time.
Yeah, we got to use anger sometimes for the service of the Lord. But I feel so that the comments from the mood has just flooded to a point where the good intelligent questions they had to be skipped.
Mano Prabhu, is Raja Kishore Prabhu was also watching yesterday class in the temple.
Yeah, he was watching and everything, but his connection was so slow.
Oh,
Yeah, he was watching in his apartment. Everything he took back E-mining type of boost, Mataji and the kids back to the apartment and everything. Because they sleep over there. Sometimes Christian Sudam Prabhu stays here in the ashram, but because he had to finish his class, he had to go back to the apartment. Yeah, but the Philippines is totally filled with Catholics.
yeah, actually, by yesterday class, I became firmly convinced that this moon landing was a hoax, because until then I was some doubts, but yesterday those doubts were completely disappeared.
I actually have this one video that you're gonna like, Dimitri Prabhu. I tried to post it in yesterday's session, but Prabhu was not able to see because of all the mudas.
Tomorrow's class is very amazing, bro.
Which video?
It's a video. Yeah, so it's a video about I forgot who it was, but he was in charge of Russian space.
Oh, okay, I'll watch it later.
Yes, and when he saw America go to the moon, he was just bewildered. And when they saw them coming out of the the lander and everything, like when they came back to Earth, like they looked like they were okay, they were fine. But when the Russians came back from space, they couldn't even walk. They couldn't even walk. He felt demortified, and then he's like, I want to know if they really went to the moon. So he made the investigation, and everyone was just telling him, well, why are you even looking into it? Why even go into this and everything? And he was thinking like, we're in the Cold War, to America. We're supposed to have all this information, and you're not giving me anything. Just simply keeping quiet. That's what they're doing. Even the academics in Russia, they weren't even trying to speak on this matter. It's on that video.
Okay.
I want to find the baby comment. This always happens when I found something and I'm thinking that I should share it.
Yes.
And I don't.
Yeah, I should have saved it maybe. Yes, that's tough when you cannot find what you're looking for.
And it was also a conversation.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
We must ask this question Sundar Gopal Prabhu. Sundar Gopal Prabhu can answer.
Yes, Prabhu.
These questions are very interesting. I also don't know.
Yeah, next class by my Prabhu about Adolf Hitler will be very complex for me, because I've been fed about this topic since my childhood, so it will be hard for me to swallow.
This topic,
everyone knows he is a demon, right?
It's really controversial in.
Yeah, it's really controversial, and yeah, 100%. I'm not gonna share this information with my parents or anything, or anybody else, because they will kill me.
Yes, bro.
Well, me, my niece never ruled. He's been doing like heavy research on this.
Yeah,
He was telling me about this.
yeah. I'd like to have a history class on how these Aryans, I mean, they were thrown from the Vedic civilization and how Hinduism took place.
The Aryans, if you're talking about the Germans and everything, I'm not too sure if that's involved in that research, but other than that, I remember Manita who giving me a 6-part series on like the whole history of Hitler and everything.
Oh,
And,
Sujay Prabhu,
I would
here
say like it's
everybody thinks that Hitler was a complete demon who attacked USSR, so and all that.
Hare Krishna,
over
Bolo
here.
Prabhu, I want to ask you something.
Yes, bro.
So that this we know that this solar eclipse and lunar eclipse, right?
You say that one more time. My
Yes.
sound was
So what this solar eclipse and lunar eclipse is means it's saying that there is a planet called Rahu which is doing this eclipse.
Yeah.
okay.
Means what kind of planet that is? This means this is invisible for us. That planet, that Rahu planet.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, in the
Prabhupada
purport,
mentioned
Srila
that it's-
Prabhupada says that this Rahu planet is visible only when the full moon.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I will try to find something. Srila Prabhupada explains in the 5th canto, I believe, how this eclipse take place.
Yes, and also, isn't there that Rahu planet is bigger than Moon and...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because yes, because the moon twice bigger than the sun.
Yeah.
And Rahu twice bigger. I mean, the Rahu is bigger than the moon even. I mean,
Yeah.
it's in the verse.
It is wrong.
Otherwise, how would
yesterday.
Rahu can, I mean, cover the entire
And
sun?
also you can see that Prabhupada is saying that they are going this Rahu planet. So all these
Yeah.
moon Nissan people, they are likely to go Rahu planet. Prabhupada is saying.
So
Not
is
likely.
Rahu-
He said they actually never went to the moon.
Yes.
Yeah. They, I mean, I was so surprised. I mean, I was so encouraged how Hanumantar Prabhu have so strong faith in Srila Prabhupada's words and
Yes.
Shastra.
We
Just
have no
one
such
sentence,
concept.
and he
Yes.
said, "That's it." I mean, we shouldn't
Yes.
speculate on this. I mean, wow.
like
And someone yesterday in comment section I saw someone is saying that next time if they bring some somras from the Chandra, then they believe that lunar mission started.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God.
actually, bro. So is Rahu bigger than the Earth's planet, Bhumi?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, that's fourth canto.
Yesterday I gave this verse.
Yeah, you
know
can.
one thing, Prabhuji, nowadays ISKCON, they are saying something new, like subtle moon, gross moon. They
Yes,
inventing some term.
see, complete nonsense. Srila Prabhupada never made.
Never, yes.
He never made such distinctions.
Yes, you will not find such things in Srila Prabhupada's book.
Yes,
So why they are saying?
the moon, which is now above our head, is the Chandralok.
Yes, they are saying it is physical moon, gross moon, and there is some subtle moon.
Nonsense. You see, Sam Prabhu, I was trying to explain that person I mean, because he was confused about this fake video when Nimante Prabhu was commenting upon. I was trying to explain him, but still he cannot understand my point.
Yes, Prabhu.
Maybe, yeah, you see, Prabhu, can you scroll up a bit? You see, I shared the verse.
One second, it was this.
Okay.
There was one.
About what?
Looking for one. Who? Yes, this 524 too.
Yes. Was that you who shared this?
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, very good.
Here,
Yes.
Prabhu, the sun globe, which is source of heat, extends 80,000 miles. The moon extends 160,000 miles, and the Rahu extends. Oh, yes, here is not mentioned the Earth planet. It was sun, moon, and Rahu. But about Earth, I don't know.
So yeah, Rahu is the biggest among them.
These are all diameter, right? Diameter of this
Yes,
sun,
Prabhu.
moon. Okay.
Yes, this Rahu is envious of both moon and sun.
Yeah. I watched one Indian TV series about this. They funny presented this, how this Rahu became envy.
These people are going to Rahu planet and saying we are going to Chandra. We are moon visa.
But you see that radiation shield about the Earth, they cannot go through it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
they will die.
Yes. I read about that thing in Wikipedia.
Kind of pass it off as if we can. But right now, we can barely even take the 5G that we're posting everywhere. People are complaining how, 5G, they're giving them cancer. Their blood is turning into odd shapes. So how can we even say that we can go through it right now and we're finished? Like the 5G over here, even they say just keeping the phone in the pocket just kills the sperm. No way you want to event now and those.
Like the president was calling on the phone to those who went on the moon.
Yes,
and Nimante Prabhu said, here in the basement with 5G, I cannot call anyone. What is this?
Calling to telephone.
Yes, calling to telephone. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yes, also the camera thing was funny.
Yes, I was always wondering why cannot. It would be nice to have the whole trip, I mean, from Earth to the moon in 4K or 8K. I mean, come on.
And I was sure, that the Indian, this Chandrayaan, they are gonna do it. I was sure that they're gonna show something.
Yes. But I remember I remember once Elon Musk, he threw his Tesla with camera in outer space, and it was live stream, and everybody was watching how this Tesla is floating in the outer space. I mean, that was funny. So it's possible. I mean,
what is it?
ISRO recently launched something to that is going to sun. Yes, like today or yesterday.
Yeah, somebody.
Aditya L1. Yes.
Yeah, somebody left such a comment, but I didn't understand. I mean, what is this sun mission? How they're going to the sun?
This is a little bit confirming what I read in that conversation, but I want to find that also. But here it is said that Krishna, in his abode, he's just like a 16 years old boy, and his main
Yes.
pastime is to take the cows in the. Because I was thinking before that there is the baby form, and I don't know how this works at all. I got confused.
Mm. Yes, his eternal form is this 16-year-old boy. Thank you, Sujay Prabhu, for your kind association. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
About to head out too, bro. Very nice associating with you, bro.
Yes, but now we need to read six as the compares before.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
And then we can
cool.
continue.
चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणम् इत्यावादूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्.
Nam Nam Makari Bogdan, Nitisarva Sankis, Taktabitani Amitasmane Nakavaha, Ita Jusita Vakipa Bhagavan Mamapi, Deva Mitri Samyajanina Niragaha.
Jnatopi Suniceno Kororopi Sahismuna Amanina Mamdena Kirtonia Sadahi.
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीशकामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि.
Okay, I'll just go ahead. Ainanda Tanukim Karam, Patikamam Biswarim Bamabudo, Vipayata Vapanam Pankajasti Tituli Satisam Vitindaya.
नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकर्निचितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति.
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे.
Aslisya Ba Paravatma. Adarshana Mamam Latam Kurutava. Yatata Vapitato Matpranana Save him
Okay, translation.
Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life or repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings. And thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. And these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental energies. You're not even hard without throats which can be things. My Lord, how kindness you enable us to use your approach like the one you. I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction to it.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
My Lord, when my eyes be decorated with tears of love, flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment ago I fell here in one. Tears are flowing from my eyes like currents of rain. I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally.
Ribo, Sri Siksastakam ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan
Jai,
jai, Panchatattva ki
Jai.
jai,
Jai,
Nityananda ki jai, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Jai,
Jagat Guru Shri
Jai.
Bhaktivedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada,
Jai,
Jai
Jai.
Jai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol.